a former DNC chairman, Ed Rendell, really, really wants Joe Biden to run for 2020. So this is fun. Look, I think it's a little early to talk about 2020, but everybody else seems to want to talk about it. So I guess that's what we're going to talk about here today. And he thinks that if Joe Biden runs, that he's going to win against Trump overwhelmingly. That is assuming that Trump is still there after the next 3 years. And that is, at least in my opinion, a little uncertain. Not entirely sure that he will be there. But in an interview with some radio host that I don't really know or care about, Rendell said that Biden is the Democrats', quote, superstar and has a real chance of winning in 2020. He said there's only one person I can say who will definitely win the election, and that has a superstar appeal in almost every state of the union, and that's Vice President Biden. Of course, people say he's too old, but he's only a year and a half older than President Trump, and he's in infinitely better shape. I don't think age would be a factor in a Biden-Trump election. To me, it's clear-cut. Joe Biden is our superstar. If he decides to run, I think he will win overwhelmingly. So that's Rendell. Later on, he also said he stressed to be careful not to go too far to the left because he says, quote, what I think the nation is looking for is not left or right necessarily, but actual real answers to the problems of the challenge that faces. So he's also arguing that it could drive, if we go too far to the left, it could drive the right to go out and vote more. That's weird. What do you think, Ron?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is more just complete disillusion. I do think that, yeah, Joe Biden would beat Donald Trump. I do agree with that. I mean, Joe Biden is incredibly popular. Had he run in 2016, I think he would have won. I think Joe Biden would have beat Trump. But now, I mean, you really have to have something that really, I think, stands up to Trump. And I think that is a significant leftward shift. People like Ed Rendell, who is very much a corporate apologist, they're going to say anything they think is going to convince people that the status quo needs to be preserved. They even have the audacity to celebrate a Doug Jones, somebody so boring and milquetoast he barely defeated a pedophile.
Barely.
He was just slightly more popular than a pedophile, just slightly. And people look at that and they're like, well, all of our problems are solved now. The Democrats are great. And this is more of that blank suit, disillusioned cheerleading. So is he right that Joe Biden would beat Donald Trump? I think so. I mean, granted, as you pointed out, 2020 is a long way from now, and a lot can happen in 3 years. So with where we're at right now, or excuse me, 2 years, with where we're at right now at the start of 2018, I think that Joe Biden would definitely beat Donald Trump, but we're just at the start of 2018. A lot can happen between now and then. We still have a midterm election. And I think that if the Democrats don't do that great in the midterms and we continue a Republican stronghold, it's kind of uncertain what could happen, or vice versa. Maybe the Democrats will do great in the midterms, but they won't really stand up to Donald Trump the way they need to. So the unpopularity pendulum will shift over towards exclusively Congress. A lot could happen. A lot of factors could be into play here.
Right.
I think the focus should be on 2018 more than 2020. But, again, this is people like Ed Rendell. They're going to say what they need to say to try to maintain the status quo, because we don't need a Mick resistance. We need a revolution. I think deep down they realize that, but that's not what they want, because that's not donor friendly. Right.
I mean, they seem to ignore the most popular politician in America, Bernie Sanders. Or anybody.
And they hinted at, even though it was very subtle, they made the age comment, which, was definitely, obviously it wasn't a direct swipe at Bernie Sanders, but there were some subtle implications there by mentioning Biden's age, because of course Bernie is a little bit older. Yes, this was very strategic.
Yeah. And look, I personally, I don't seem to have I don't have really a big problem with Joe Biden personally, but there's certainly some things that would come back and haunt him. For example, Anita Hill. Oh, the way he went after Anita Hill, not so good. Might not look so good.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but I mean, I think he would. I mean, right now, I think
he
if you
would
had an
win
election today
but,
and it was Joe Biden v. Trump, I think Joe Biden would win.
Yes. Yeah, it's true.
You know, but, I think he'd be a better president than Trump. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, this kind of goes into that. He's status quo. He would play the system. There wouldn't really be, you know, any true change. So, you know, I mean, it's kind of the lesser of two evilisms that get us Trumps on a regular basis, and that's what we're trying to get away from. So,
yeah, I just want to throw in here for the last comment because I know you got to go soon. A ham sandwich could have beaten Trump. A leftover ham sandwich, perhaps. I mean, that was sitting on the sidewalk for a few days. Probably could have beaten Donald Trump. It's just because ham sandwiches are still more popular right now than Hillary Clinton. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you know, 2016 was literally an unpopularity contest.
It really was.
I mean, more so than we've ever seen. It's very sad, and it was literally. I mean, because the person that had the less votes did end up winning. And for some reason, the Democrats aren't screaming at the top of their lungs about the Electoral College. For some reason, I have no idea why. Actually, I know exactly why. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. And yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it was, you know, had the Republicans put up someone like Kasich, they would have won in a landslide. But, you know, at least I think so. But, you know, I mean, Trump ended up getting there. And yeah, I mean, it is an unpopularity contest. And Trump has been shifting. I mean, generally, he has been very unpopular, you know, but occasionally you see those bursts. So even despite the climate we're in, you know, the populace as a whole still has its element of being fickle. And, you know, a lot could happen between now and 2020. Yeah, and, you know, especially if things get really bad, but the blame isn't put in the right corner, you know, and if the Mick resistance keeps being completely ineffective, you know, we could see, you know, and it could be interesting what happens then. But I think the focus needs to be on 2018.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYT Nation.